Ray say, I feel like a lot of times some of these masc women try to uphold heteronormatives, which means also having certain mannerisms and attitudes and characteristics as literal men. And when I say that, I mean
people do not like bisexual girls, and I'm just like, it is a great disdain. How do you feel about that? Like, would you date somebody that's bisexual? All right, what up, y'all? And we are back with TC. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable with us earlier. Absolutely.
I'm literally an open burn book.
No, not just open book, but an open burn book.
Yeah.
No pun intended. If you listen to the first half, you would understand.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Let's get into a little bit of these topics that I want to talk about, because I don't have gay friends. I don't have a lot of lesbian friends. Yes.
Community is so important. I feel like in our culture and in our inner culture, community is so important, and it's so weird how we don't really lean into those things. So
yeah, I have a lot of straight friends, and I feel like most people I've dated, except for the last one, have been straight, and it's been crazy. So somebody told me, bro, you just need to date somebody like that's actually lesbian, so you can like not have to deal with the shit that you've been dealing with. But a few different things that I've seen that people talk about in our communities is other studs kind of like not really embracing studs. So how you feel about that? Has that been something that you've seen? I feel like when I see other studs or other masculine presenting women, I'm not really sure how to feel. I'm not really sure how to like greet them, like, right, you know, and most of the time it's a stranger. So like, if I see them, like, I think the last thing that happened that was kind of weird was that like, oh, I was actually at Ironclad, which is crazy. On
Shout out to Ironclad. Get him a little bitty bum.
Oh shit, that's a wah. There we go, little drum. But yeah, like I walked in and it was like these three little, I call them baby studs because they was little, like they was young.
Oh God.
And one,
were they short too?
One, I can't really remember. It was New Year's, so you know,
they short. That definitely plays a role into it. You know, short people have a Napoleon syndrome and shit.
Yeah, well, I'm short, but I don't feel like
I'm sorry. That was no shade.
You were absolutely talking
no
about
shade.
No, it was three. It was three little baby studs. And
three little dwarfs. Hit the drum.
I don't know which one it is.
It's the blue one.
It's the blue one. All right, we good now. Sticky notes. But yeah, no, like two. It was like three of them. Two of them were shorter, and one of them was like maybe average height, maybe like not so 5'8".
She was
but
the
like
ringleader.
5'5". And one of them legit like looked me up and down.
Oh no, like, not sizing you up, fun size.
And I'm with Shawty.
Oh,
so like, you know, I don't know what the issue was or if it was an issue, but I felt like it might have been an issue. And I'm like, dang, I'm really nice if you actually get to know me.
Right.
And then I don't even want to speak after that. Like, what I'm supposed to be like.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I'm just wondering how you have been, or is that something that you've dealt with?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, sometimes my idea about it, and I'm not saying this is 100% the case for everybody, but I do feel like a lot of masc-presenting women, masc, in my opinion, just means that you like to dress in men clothing. Yeah, that's really it.
But do you think it's the demeanor too? Because sometimes it's the demeanor.
But that's what I was.
People voice real deep,
and that's what I was getting ready to say. I feel like a lot of times, some of these masc women try to uphold the heteronormatives, which means also having certain mannerisms and attitudes and characteristics as literal men. And when I say that, I mean literally being territorial.
Yeah.
Having these piss contests with other masc women. And it's just like, why? That's literally, not only are we women, so we're literally the complete opposite of that. But it's like, let's be real. A lot of masc women, especially the masc women, are way more femme than a lot of femmes out here. You know what I'm saying? And I would agree with you. Like, I know oftentimes I may look as though I have a resting bitch face, but I like absolutely would love to have way more masc friends.
Me too.
Like, not only just for my own sanity, because of course, like we were talking about earlier, like being friends with femmes, sometimes it just, I know on my end what the intentions are, but the outside perception could be like a lot.
Trying to get at me,
So I would absolutely love to just have that community of masc folk, but I do feel that like sometimes they take on that real persona of being a man.
Do you have that, or do you have gay friends?
The fact that I have to sit here even thinking about it should tell you. I genuinely don't. I don't think I have any masc friends. If any of y'all are watching this, there may be one or two, but not anyone that's close. You know what I'm saying? Not anyone. Like, I would love to be like, bitch, what you doing?
Yeah.
And you just pull up and we hang out. Yeah. You know, I'm pretty sure I definitely have like maybe a few like femme friends.
Yeah.
But I don't have one where I could just call and like we can relate or like hang out and shit like that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I know, like, me personally, I'm masc. I be trying to be masc sometimes. But, like, I'm so girly. I'm so, like, I talk with my hands.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm very flamboyant. So sometimes females see me and be like, you know, feel like I'm their homegirl type shit. So I kind of I feel like I'm the best of both worlds in that way. Some people don't really see me as masc. They see me as like a tomboy. So, but and back in the day, like when people used to try to, I guess, label me, and we'll talk about that too, like how you feel about labels and things like that. They used to label me as a stud.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I don't really feel like a stud.
Right.
Because I don't, you know, I don't feel like I want to like deepen my voice. I feel like back in the day, studs used to like really put that baritone on, and that wasn't me. And I'm not about to try to like straighten my shoulders. Like if I'm talking, I need to do a little shimmy. Like that's what it. So you know, I was at my friend's wedding and I bust a little twerk. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? So like I don't know if I fit all of the boxes of being a quote unquote stud.
Yeah.
So
I mean, honestly, I don't even know what the definition of that. Like in my opinion, it is just the complete opposite of a butch, which from my understanding of a butch, is just kind of the white version of a masculine woman.
Hell yeah.
So I feel like black people have kind of, you know, taken a term and just made it their own. Yeah. So I mean, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like that's kind of really what it's. That's why personally, if I'm being more politically correct or if I'm like speaking more publicly, I like to use more inclusive terms like masc-presenting.
Yeah.
But obviously if I'm like at home or I'm talking to like Sage or behind the scenes, I might say, oh yeah, stud this, stud that.
Yeah.
You know, I might even call myself a dyke, you know what I'm saying? But outside of that, usually when I'm talking to people, I'm like, yeah, I'm just masc-presenting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't really necessarily care to identify as a stud because I don't really know what that means.
Yeah. So what do you identify as? Just masc-presenting?
Yeah, I usually just, I like to say queer.
Queer, okay.
I like to say queer. I just feel like queer is so much of like an umbrella term.
I got you.
So yeah, how about you?
I honestly have never been asked this question, even though I just asked you this question.
Yeah, definitely caught you off guard. I seen that shit.
Me? I don't know. I feel like I don't really fit into STEM either. Like maybe it's STEM. I don't know.
That's why I like queer. That is why I like queer.
Yeah, that's just so broad.
That's what I like about it.
It's
because it keeps the people guessing.
It does.
And you don't really have to answer too many more questions about it.
That's
because
true.
I feel like once you say you are a lesbian.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's one thing about social media. You start to see so much information. Like I have learned that, you know, so many people have so many opinions about what even a lesbian is. And, you know, traditionally I'm just like, you know, women loving women. But some people will say that there's all these different subcategories. And that's why for me, I just feel like the best way that I could just package it to where we don't have to necessarily start going into all these subcategories. It's just to be like, I'm queer.
Maybe I might need to take a page out of that book. I think that like the way that I think is so precise. Like I like to call a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so like I don't mind leaving people guessing, but I'm also guessing. Like, damn, queer. What does that mean? Because it feels like that could be an umbrella term to like say that you also would date men, like if the opportunity arose. I just don't really know. So I just be like, shit, I'm Brie. Like, and people kind of
that
make
part
determinations based. I've had like some very good compliments lately. Like I've met two different people, and they both have told me that I am very cute. Like I don't know what that means, but like attractive, cute, attractive. And one girl I was hanging with the other night amongst a group of friends. She was like, you know, like you're like really a really good mix between both.
Yeah.
Like I can tell that you're a female because you talk like, you know what I'm saying, flamboyantly and whatever. But she said, and this was the best compliment, she said, I can see the nigga in you.
She affirmed that. Got it.
And I felt so good when she said that. So it's like, I guess I don't know, I'm just Brie.
That's why when people ask me my pronouns, I'm like, she, her, and that nigga. And a
okay,
fucking problem.
So now we gotta talk about and a fucking problem. Shout out to somebody who said their pronouns are pay and me. Big purr. I love that.
Okay, I might have to add that. I might have to add that to my arsenal.
Me. I ain't gonna say who said, but you know you are. How you feel about pronouns?
You know, like I said, I am like such like a non-traditional queer individual.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be the first to say I am not the spokesperson,
right? Of course, not.
For the LGBTQIA plus community.
She just answering because I asked y'all. That's
right.
That's
it. So I will say this. I will start by saying this: pronouns have existed before sexuality has existed, right? So let's make that clear.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I did, but
yes,
you know, not in the realm of what we're talking about now. That makes sense.
But again, I also would like to focus on the fact that pronouns literally apply for hetero cis people as well. He, she, them, they.
Yeah.
I literally seen somebody the other day say that their pronouns were it.
No, they didn't. It?
That's wild. No, but I respect. I swear to God.
It?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man, come on.
That is crazy.
My thing is I can't keep up. And I'm in the community. I'm in the community, but I'm not like you said, I don't have a lot of like queer friends or gay friends or masc-presenting friends. But it's just like, listen, okay, this is how I feel about it. And I don't want to get canceled, so maybe I shouldn't say this. But if you have, you know, if you're a full beard, I'm going to just say full beard, okay? Clearly, you look like you could be a man.
Okay.
And you want me to call you a she. Sometimes that is hard for my brain to register because I know what a man looks like. Right. And I know what a woman looks like. So if that's the case, I just want you to tell me your name. Because I'm gonna mess it up. Like I can't. Like I'm from the South. Like I'm very like ma'am, sir. Right. And I think that it comes off as you like trying to make me feel like you want me to validate how you feel in the inside. Which I get that you want validation, but it's like I can't see it. I don't see it the way you do. Right. So it's like, tell me if you want me to call you Sabrina, Sabrina it is. Yeah. But I can't, but like, you know what I'm saying? If I'm explaining something to somebody, I'm on a rush, I'll be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It might slip out. Right. But I don't want to get penalized for that.
Right. No, and I definitely get it. So how I look at it is, and a lot of people who present differently than from what their pronouns are, right? They talk about this a lot where one girl I recently saw, she was like, I don't know how. Okay, I will say this. She physically, well, their pronouns, they said that publicly she will say, well, they will say she and her.
Okay.
But she says that, and depending on who the person is, they may say they, them, right? And basically their point was to say that I know that people, when they perceive me, the perception is based on gender and not necessarily like who I am. So it's usually a lot easier for her to be like, yeah, she, her. But she's like, the people that really know me or that I care to know me, I'm going to say they, them, right? So to your point, when you see somebody with a full beard, it is completely human nature to presume that they are what you perceive them to be.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's common courtesy and respectful. And at this day and age, it's not 1960 where we don't have the knowledge or the representation that we do now. If you want to be called a tree,
I'm not calling you a tree. I'm sorry. I can't do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not. No, because I feel like we have to figure out where the line is. I can't. Like, what? A tree? No, there's a line. And I feel like it's been crossed. Because when you talk to people like, you familiar with Flame Monroe?
No. Oh, yes. The comedian.
Yes. Trans woman.
Mm-hmm.
Woman, but he's old school. Like, he knows that he's a dad. Like, he has 2 kids, and he know how he got them. You know what I'm saying? He still got his penis. He talks about all of these things like very openly. He's like, man, I really don't understand this new generation, and he's been like, I guess, quote unquote, canceled before for speaking his thoughts on it because people don't like to hear like. No, like,
yeah, I was about to say, like, I feel like at one point I absolutely loved him, and I think he did say something weird, and I was like,
he did, yeah, he says things. I mean, I think that when it comes down to like saying things that people don't necessarily want to hear, even if it may be like tough to hear, it's like, bruh, if I can't, I don't know.
I listen.
You are very respectful. Like, you all about respect.
Yeah, and I'm like, if it does not keep me up at night, if it doesn't pay my bills, if it's not committing some sort of crime,
that's true. Then you're not about to.
Why do I care? And that goes for a lot of things in life. Like the things that we be so concerned about, I'm just like, yo, motherfuckers still fighting for healthcare, benefits, the tariffs, racism still. Like, it's so many things that we could be worried about, and we be so focused on pronouns.
Yeah.
And again, as someone who's in the community, I think our we tend to read the room a little bit better because we already understand bias. And when I see someone who is obviously transitioning or has transition or maybe can be perceived as one or the other, the first thing I do is say, what are your pronouns?
Okay.
Like, literally, one of my coworkers who just started working at my job, it was so obvious that they were trans. So the first thing I said is, what's your name?
Yeah.
They told me their name. I said, okay, cool. What's your pronouns? They were like, she, her. I said, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now every day I'm like, hey, girl.
Yeah. See,
it's so easy.
But with that, it's fine. I can get with that. But my thing is, when you not trying at all to transition, or maybe you are and I just can't see it.
Yeah.
It just comes off like, and let me just say this: I've never been corrected. Like, nobody. I've never been called out by anyone trans and say, "Hey, that's not my pronoun." I've never had that happen. Yeah. Ever at all, because I feel like I'm.
But
maybe I just haven't been around.
Keep in mind two
radical
things. You have some people who genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
And you also have some people who don't feel like having the conversation.
Okay.
Which, when you think about it, is like, imagine that person every day having to go home and be like, that was so exhausting.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, it's just like, it's so important to, again, affirm anything that people swear that they are. Because think about it. Me and Sage were just having this conversation about trans people, and she was like, there's a lot of people out here that either can't afford the surgery and or may just be in a situation where they just haven't made it to the doctor yet. Like their appointment is like 2 weeks from now. Yeah. So with that being stated, it's just like, how dare we deny them the affirmation of saying he, him, or she, her, or whatever, and they are making their way to that point, but they just simply can't afford it yet. Or let's say you have a woman who is going through, PCOS or something, mm-hmm. where they like have an overgrowth of hair in certain places. Mm-hmm. You know, can you imagine being a whole cis woman mm-hmm. and having facial hair, and somebody immediately is like, hey, guy over there, and it's just like, mm-hmm. I'm a whole woman, you know?
Yeah.
But again, I also don't blame people for their ignorance. Mm-hmm. The only time where it gets muddy is when I've literally verbally told you or corrected you and you still go against what I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. Because we have to be a little bit gracious when we know for a fact, bitch, you look like a woman.
Yeah.
You can't 100% fault me for saying she, her.
Yeah.
But where you can fault me is if you tell me, hey, I don't go by that. This is what I go by. And then you still go out of your way intentionally to do that. That's a problem to me.
See, I don't have a problem with it. If you telling me, because it's somebody that I work with, Lord, I'm not going to cut it out. It's okay. But it's somebody who is, I mean, I'd be like, hey, girl, like, because, you know, he it's a guy. I don't know, but... I'm like, somebody had to literally tell me, like, mm-hmm. his, like, they said his name. His name is, I'm not going to say his name, but they said his name. They were like, oh, you talking to whatchamacallit? And I was like, who? You know, and I just let it slide the first time because I'm like, oh, they can't be talking about her. Can't be talking about her. And then the second time, they said it again. They were like, no, you were talking to whatchamacallit. And I said, yeah, but you saying her name wrong. Yeah. Like you saying, they were like, no, like, that's a man. That's a guy. I said, Are you kidding me? I had no clue. Girl, and he never corrected me. And I'm thinking that he's presenting as he wants to be. Mm-hmm. And I might be the only one in the whole hospital that actually says, hey, girl. But, you know, I'm not there often. But you look like I'm going to call you what you know what I'm saying? You mm-hmm. in my mind, born in 1993. And I think that he does appreciate that. Yeah. Like, I've never been corrected. But it's just like, if I see you looking like you looking, because it's some bad bitches that's niggas. Mm-hmm. You know, or we're born as niggas. Mm-hmm. Jesus. I'm sorry. But for real, like, if you think about it, like, you would never know. Yeah. And I'm gonna call you a girl, not because that's what you asked me to call you, but because that's what you... Yeah. That's exactly what you look like. Right. Now, if somebody asked me to call them that, cool. I ain't got no issues with that. I'm gonna just tell me your name, too, because I don't want to, you know... mess that up because I'm very respectful. I don't want to mess that up, but I think we all have biases. Like, as much as we don't want to admit it, like, we all have something we're biased about. Absolutely. And I don't want to I don't want this to be the hill that I die on, that I'm biased about this, but I am in the community and sometimes I do feel like I don't know these things. Like, I don't know how to handle them. So
yeah, and I mean, there's a difference, too, with acknowledging where you may not know something than to just pretend like, you know, just willfully ignorant type shit. Yeah. So like I said, I feel like it's just one of those things where we are all human. Like, I feel like there's extremes on both ends. Like, there was a video that I saw where this girl was talking about something, but she just kept saying gay this and gay that. Mind you, the person is in the video is queer. But as you know, especially people who were born in the 90s or before then, gay was more of the umbrella term, kind of how queer is now the umbrella term. Mm. And people were in the comments, well, one specific person was in the comments saying, see, this is why I hate being grouped in with LGBTQ because y'all never talk about the T being trans. Oh, yeah. And that really opened my eyes. And that's why I feel like in that moment, I started to adapt saying queer. Yeah. Because the reality of the situation is, by definition, in these labels, gay means man-loving man.
That's true. Yeah.
And it always feels weird when somebody's just like, are you gay? And most people are going to say yes, but they're not going to say that they're necessarily lesbian. Right. Because it just doesn't flow right. It doesn't hit the same. Most people are just going to be like, oh, I'm gay as fuck. Yeah. They're not going to say, oh, I'm lesbian as fuck. Like, that shit just hit different. So that's why I'm like, I'm queer. because it's more of an inclusive term, so that way the trans people don't feel offended. Even though I felt like, in my opinion, it was a bit extreme, because it's like, come on now, most people are going to say gay, not necessarily meaning that it has anything to do with two men. It's just more of an umbrella term. But sometimes we need those learning moments, because we never know. Again, this is why I always preach about impact over intention, because that person's intentions may have not been to upset that person, but the damage is already done, and it's a learning experience. Like, you know what? Now that I think about it, gay does actually just mean men and men, and I kind of excluded y'all, not realizing that it hurt your feelings. So now I'm about to change my language to queer.
Yeah.
So that way it's more of an umbrella, so you don't feel like that this conversation is not including you.
And yeah, and I agree with that. That well, in the conversations that I've been in, trans has not, come up. Like it hasn't been some. It's usually about the lesbians, or if it's a hot topic, it's about lesbians, or it's about bisexual girls and how they don't belong. Like it be like.
They not like us.
People do not like us. Like bisexual girls, and I'm just like, it is a great disdain. How do you feel about that? Like, would you date somebody that's bisexual?
Absolutely.
I would date somebody that's bisexual too.
Absolutely.
I would need you to get tested first. But
I would rather date somebody who's bisexual than date somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely straight. I just like to get my pussy.
Oh, okay. Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think people who say that they don't date people who are bisexual are very childish and very insecure. People like what they like.
Yeah.
And this is why I say, love and sexuality is such on a spectrum. And even though I do appreciate labels, because kind of like how we were talking about earlier, you need things to be labeled sometimes to kind of be able to compartmentalize certain things. Society loves categories. You got to be able to put things in certain boxes to really understand. But oftentimes what happens when we put things in boxes, if it doesn't fit in that box, then you get confused, and people are afraid of things that they don't understand.
Yeah. So do you feel like you're in kind of a heteronormative relationship where you're like kind of taking on the role of that a man would take on? And
not necessarily. I think by default, because I am more masc presenting, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that there aren't things that I do that I'm just like, I would rather do that. Like, don't touch the trash, don't touch the door, let me pay for dinner this go round. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not something that I don't personally project in the relationship. But I can tell you one thing, Sage is not pressuring me to take care of certain things. And that's just how our household works. And that's one thing I want to speak on. Like, I'm an advocate for do what works for you. Because again, as soon as you start putting people in a box and it doesn't fit, it just throws off everything. If you being the man in your relationship works for your relationship, cool. But you then can't jump into another relationship, and when it doesn't work for you, again, put that person in a box. Because as soon as you get a masc who is then expecting you to pay all the bills, and it doesn't work for you, then you mad. But my whole thing is, it's somebody out here for everybody. You know how many masks is out here getting flued out? Getting ate out? Getting taken out?
Well, I mean,
it's probably not a lot of them.
No, I mean, okay, one of the three, I'm okay. I'm good. But but I'm saying getting flued out. What are films that flying the mask presenting ladies at?
Listen, I ain't gonna hold you for a split second. I talked to this girl who was actually an influencer, and she was ready to fly me out. So trust and believe, they are out here. But what works for you works for you. Just like you have hetero men who stay at home and the woman makes more money than them. I don't give a fuck. Personally, for me, if I'm dating a man, you're gonna pay these bills. It's gonna be a traditional ass
right now is real household. Weird, and I don't know what the straight people got going on right now, but it's y'all dating dudes that's not working. Like, they not contributing. They having babies, not taking care of them. I don't know what's going on with the straight side of America right now. But I stay out of grown folk business.
America, we have a problem.
America, Houston, everybody. Because I just don't get it. I don't know. Because it feel like we a little bit more stable than y'all over here.
Oh, absolutely. I don't get it. So, yeah, I feel like whatever works for you, works for you.
Yeah.
I'm not, like I said, the situation with the ex-fiance Did it did it make me feel a little bit of a way? Absolutely. I'm human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it makes you curious to know what was the ulterior motive. Like, were you just never gay? Were you never in? You know, was it just me? Was I an exception to the rules? But at the end of the day, guess what? I know I'm fine as shit, and I know that there is a woman out there that absolutely wants this pussy. That's 100%.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. I was like, exactly. But then you said, I was like, I mean, yeah, but like, you know, yeah. Okay, all right. Stud on stud relationships.
I'm here for it.
How you feel about that?
I'm here for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look, we out the way. Whatever make you happy,
literally
makes you happy.
Literally,
do what you do.
I personally don't know if that would be for me, and the reason why I say that is because by default, I'm a very dominant person. Even if I was dating a man, that man would have to be so dominant, and that's why I always say
you're not submissive at all.
No.
Wow.
And in order for me to be submissive, you have to give me a reason, meaning you got to be able to offer me the softest. Like, I'm talking about cotton nail soft.
Right.
I mean, all bills paid, constantly on vacation. I'm not even cooking dinner.
So you would date a man?
I'm definitely open to it. And that's why I said the whole labels thing, while I appreciate it, it could be weird because as soon as you tell a bitch, oh yeah, I'll go date a nigga, they be like, you're not lesbian. Now you bisexual. And it's just like, I don't necessarily know if I can say that 100% because I don't know. And then sometimes I kind of say I'm queer, but then I also say I'm sexually fluid because I go where I feel the most appreciated, and the most loved, and where I can benefit the most.
Yeah.
But I will say this: when it comes to men, whether I was hetero or whatever, the bar for men is so high. I would probably end up single.
They ain't reaching it.
Or honestly, probably with like a rich old ass white man.
They not reaching it.
Because I'm telling you, the things that I would be asking for. But you so
pro-black though. I can't see you with a. Wait a minute.
People always say that. People literally always say that.
But they might like that though. He might.
I was about to say there are so many white men. Like if you see on TikTok, like all of the black influencers that have like are married.
Yeah.
I swear to you, they are always some rich ass white man. And don't get me wrong, there's probably like a small bit of fetishization going on.
Probably.
But when it comes to dating men, it's always about quality of life before anything. Meaning, how can I benefit from this relationship? You have to be able to take care of me. Period.
I concur. I agree because I think that marriage was never created for the woman to be happy.
No.
At all. At all. It was created as a trade of wealth.
Absolutely.
It was created. People were getting married in the same family so that they could keep the family.
Literally.
The wealth in the family. Like,
literally.
It wasn't created for. So I can agree with that it has to be. Okay, so I'll usually say I think I'm okay with the marriage being transactional.
That's literally what marriage is.
Okay.
A lot of people don't even realize that a lot of people have problems with sex work, but people don't want to talk about it, but marriage is sex work. It is when you think about it.
Wait.
Anything involving men is typically conditional and transactional. Right? So when we think about it, most women, when they get in these relationships with men, their goal is to be taken care of.
Right.
To have their bills paid, to have all these different luxuries of life, with the understanding that I'm likely going to have sex with this man in order to keep whatever is going on.
But you don't think it's because of love? Because I'm thinking I'm picking up what you're putting down, but it sounds like a repercussion of trying to marry somebody. Like, oh damn, I done married this person now. I gotta. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of women do date men, and there's this whole topic of like good dick, and you know, and I was talking to a gay dude last night, and he was like, look, hey, I'm okay if people say I don't have good dick, because good dick is hard to have. Like, you on 10 every single time. So I think that it's some women who do really enjoy having sex with, so it's not like a task.
Okay.
That's
a good question, though, because I feel like a lot of people always ask that. But for one, love is not enough, for one.
Oh, absolutely not.
And for two, the reason why I can't say that that's the case is because the moment that you don't give a man sex, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the benefit of what he was originally giving you.
No, that's true.
If you're not fucking him, the bill will not get paid. If you're not fucking him, your kids will not be taken care of. If you're not fucking him, you're not getting your nails done this week. And I'm just being real. And I know this is going to come off very like blunt, but I don't really like to sugarcoat shit. That is really the reality of these situations.
I got you.
And again, I'm someone who's an advocate for sex work, so it doesn't bother me regardless. But the truth of the matter is, anything involving a man is typically Look at these new age men. They swear now chivalry ain't dead, but men was out here buying women drinks for their time, taking bitches out to dinner. Now you got men that's like Future telling these niggas, I don't take a bitch out to eat. Damn, a bitch can't even go to Applebee's.
Yeah.
These niggas want to know up front, are you fucking me afterwards?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I can't even go out to eat. You don't have $20. Well, maybe it's 22 or 25 because you know Applebee's used to have the 2 for 20.
Nah,
now they don't
now.
crept up on your ass. Just like hot fries is now $2.99. Bitch, I saw that. It was $2 at one point. Hold the fuck up.
Big facts.
But a lot of these men cannot even afford or are willing to spend $30 at Applebee's unless they know for a fact they're having sex with you. These are also the same men. The moment that they find out you have cancer, they already got a new bitch at the crib.
Yeah.
So this is what I talk about when it's like, you don't think it's just about love? No. Because, I mean, let's be honest, men are very sex driven and love is not enough for them. So they can say that they love you all day, but the moment that you're not providing what they truly want at the end of the day, again, you could be laying in the bed brain dead and they ain't get their dick wet in 3 days and somehow, some way, they already on Hinge matched with another bitch.
That's true. So have you dated a man before? Have you ever had a boyfriend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
None of them were serious though.
Okay.
Like, I've always known that I was gay.
Right.
From like day one. So I feel like a lot of my relationships were never necessarily serious because I felt like I was only getting in them because I was just like, well, this is what they say to do.
Yeah, but because I feel like I feel like I wasn't expecting you to say that.
What were you expecting me to say?
I was not expecting you to say that because it seems to me like you don't really care about, like, you're so secure in yourself and who you are that, like, you had to be young.
Yeah.
You had to be young. Mm-hmm. You good? You want me to, you good over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, all right. But yeah, so like, okay, so there was once a time where you actually gave a shit about what people wanted from you in the future, like as far as a relationship and your sexuality.
What do you mean? Reframe the question.
Like, was there a time, because I feel like nowadays, just from how I see you on social media, it seems like you don't really care about what people think.
Not at all.
But you said, like, when you were dating guys,
okay,
you did.
Yeah.
I guess you were doing it because that's what people said that was the right thing to do. So I'm wondering, like, when that shifted.
I feel like it definitely probably had to be right around the time where I had my first girlfriend, which was around the same time that I came out, because it's just like, again, I was also going to college, which was something that I did not want to do. So I think a lot of times people so hyper focused on sexuality when it's like so many layers to life of things that it's just like, I didn't necessarily want to do that, and I didn't know how to speak on it. And again, when you're coming from generations of people who also were not taught those things, that's a lot of unlearning to do. And then keep in mind, most people don't even develop their frontal lobe until they're 25 years old. So to expect someone who's a child to just know everything about the world, there are a few people that are very gifted, like at a young age can tell you exactly what they want, exactly what they're going to do, will go against all odds. But I just had to come into that and kind of just learn things on my own. So I feel like it was definitely like, once I realized, you know what, I'm in college, I got this girl that I kind of just want to be with. I think that's when I started developing like that whole radical ideology and way of life where it's just like, you know what, I do what the fuck I want to do and I don't care about how people think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's
actually a quote from Bell Hooks.
Oh my gosh, I love Bell Hooks.
Oh my gosh, I just love her. There's this one quote. It says, "Queer not as being about who you are having sex with. That can be a dimension of it, but queer is being about the self that is at odds with everything around it and has to invent and create and find a space to speak in, to thrive, and to live." And I love that so much because it's like, yo, if you're going to not only just be queer, but like the point of that is just you are going against everything that life tells you not to do.
I love it.
I always say living in my truth was the most powerful thing that I could ever do. It's the most freeing thing that you can ever do. It's almost like hearing a rumor about yourself and being like, oh, I didn't know that. I don't really care because you're not gonna do anything about it because you're just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
When I start living in my truth, oof.
You can't tell me something that I don't already know.
Well, yeah, I mean, releasing this book for real was living in my truth because I feel like a lot of people, they may see the title and think that it may be educational, which it is, but the beginning starts from like the very rough like death of my father, how he died, and then how me and my mom's relationship was like not great at the beginning, like in the when I was growing up, and that's hard to put out there because my mom is still living. Yeah, and my mom lives with me.
Oh wow!
And so,
has she read your book yet?
No.
Does she know that it exists?
Yeah, she knows that it exists. So I wrote it. I was writing it at home, and I think I may have read her like maybe the first chapter, and she was okay with it because it talks about how my dad passed away, which is, and people will read it, but he committed suicide in front of her.
Oh wow!
When I was in her belly, I was not born yet. I was in the womb.
Are you serious?
The book starts off very crazy, and it just. So I read that part to her, and I didn't know how it would affect her, but I said, hey, this is going to be the first chapter. Like, are you cool with that? But then the second chapter is about how our relationship was just kind of rocky, and I don't think she is aware of that part of it.
Have you, outside of the book, actually talked to her about the things?
Yes.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, I told you, my mom is very like, she cuts people off, and she don't really care about the relationship that she has with people, even if it's family. Like, if you piss her off, her peace comes first. Her peace comes first. So I think the only person she hasn't cut off in her life is me.
I'm about to say
for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons.
Right.
But I think the thing is, like, what God is telling me, because I'm very spiritual and I'm very like into God, and God just has been leading the whole way for me. But what God has told me is that this book will be, it will make it okay for people to feel like they can make amends with their parents. Yeah. Especially in the Black community. Because a part of us not building wealth is that, like, we're not doing it like the Indians or the Mexicans. Like, we get in a scuffle or a fight with our parents and they cut off, or either we don't talk to them for a while, or oh no, I can't live with my mama because she do too much, or she act just like me and we clash. And this is a testament to say that you can go through some shit with mama, but they still help you build wealth in the end by moving in with this person, making amends. So further into you gotta read a little bit, but further into the book we do get it together, obviously, because we live together. But I just think it's just being so vulnerable like that, especially to like people who have never heard my story and family who have never known like why I wasn't around. Yeah, that's why I didn't put it out like that. But to your point of like just being vulnerable, and like, you know, it's hard, it's rough, and you say sometimes, you know, you weren't ready to do that, and but now you're living in your purpose. Back then you weren't ready, but now you are, and now I am, and it's kind of like, damn, who the fuck is you? Like, yeah, you just showed up, and you know, I've been living in this body all my life, but have never seen that part of me outside of myself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's literally out there. Anybody who wants to can read it and like judge me for that.
Yeah.
So I completely understand what you're saying. I'm right there with you. Especially, but that's why I don't give a damn about nobody saying nothing about my sexuality or who I'm dating or whatever, because it's like, shit, I mean, it's out there.
Yeah.
You can't say nothing about me that I don't already know or that I'm not comfortable with. I may not have all the answers, but I know how I feel when I'm with this person. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm good.
Did you have like any sort of therapist or anybody that you talked to that kind of helped you be that vulnerable, or you just kind of, it was all self?
I don't know what happened. I think that, so like, I grew up in a house where my mom is like, what goes on in this house stays in this house.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? So like, being this vulnerable feels illegal. It felt illegal. It felt like I was on a tightrope for most of, you know, you on an acrobat on a tightrope, you don't know when they go fall. Like, that's how I felt walking through life. And it also talks about too, like, how when I started working with white people in the hospital, because I was a nurse, and a lot of my coworkers were white. I think that's something we need to talk about too. It's not enough black healthcare workers, but they were very open. And I don't know if you ever worked with white people before. Like, they will tell you they divorced, why they got divorced, when they got divorced,
do divulge a lot of information.
They sad person, they kids that they had. Like, it's just like, it's an open, and it was like, I was like, oh my, covering my mouth. I'm like, why you telling me this? Like, so when I started to see that, I think it almost gave me permission. It scared the shit out of me, for one, because why are you out here telling us? I just met you 10 minutes ago, and I know your kid got ADD.
Absolutely.
And that they probably is going to jail to be a psychopath, and to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know all of these things, and so like, I think that open me up to give me like permission to be like, okay, it's not the end of the world if I don't bottle this stuff in.
Yeah.
But as far as a therapist, I've been through a lot of therapists, because the way that my brain works, I feel like people can always dig deeper, and I feel like the therapist that I had didn't really dig deeper. The only therapist that I had that dig deeper was, first of all, I met her on Facebook, and she is not licensed at all.
Oh gosh.
At all. But she does like the tarot and stuff, and she's like, she does like the crystals and stuff. I really enjoy going to her, but she's a what is it called? She can't tell the future, but like,
psychic, or
kinda, but like, she just gets like downloads from God about what is going to happen, and it usually happens. Yes, and I got tired of knowing what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, it takes away like, oh, this gonna happen to you in May, and now May roll up in May 1st. I'm like, oh well, it got about maybe 24, 48 hours for this shit. Everything going good right now, but I know some shit. So I just didn't. But she really dug deep into my spirit. Like, she told me to write it. My grandma passed away before about 3 years ago. Okay. And she told me to write a letter to my grandma and burn it. And so like, I felt like that.
This fucking burn book just won't.
It won't go away. My papa, she told me to write a letter to him. And just like, when you write a letter to somebody that's dead, that is the type of deepness I need in a therapist. Like, maybe not that certain activity, but the things that come up that you didn't necessarily know you were holding in, that's what I need you to dig out of me. Yeah. And I felt like no other licensed therapist did that for me. So I would say,
were your therapists that were licensed, were they black?
I'm gonna just say this. I went through BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com, and I had one. She was all right. It was two that were black. One, I scheduled a session with her. I still count her. I scheduled a session with her. She didn't never show up. So I never even met the lady.
What?
I never met her, but she didn't show. And I was having a real bad anxiety attack that day. It was so bad.
Why didn't she show up?
I don't know.
Why did you come?
BetterHelp. I don't know, but y'all need to get it together.
We done ran out of alcohol.
We definitely did. We got to get some more.
Damn.
Shit.
Where the closest ABC store at? I wish. Shit. Had I known we could have drunk up here, I was right by the ABC store today.
Man,
damn.
Look, You gotta come back.
Commercial break.
The way I was ready to say, we'll be right back. Have you ever had a Reiki session?
No.
You have never had Reiki?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, it's a massage, but it's all energy.
Okay.
This motherfucker don't touch you. But let me tell you something. I got a Reiki massage. Shout out to Meek. I'm going to see you later. This motherfucker got rid of the back pain that I was having.
Are you serious?
Without touching me. Yes.
Wow.
So she touched my back and then it went away. And I suffer with racing thoughts. Like I'm hopping from, that's why I need it today, because I'm hopping from here today and I'm having this event coming up and all. She touched my head and I didn't have racing thoughts for 6 months.
Okay, I need her information and the girl from Facebook. Expeditiously. Expeditiously.
Right. Look, I don't want to hold you too long. I think we unpacked a lot.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the book. I definitely had to give me a copy for sure. And I'm not someone who really is into reading books and shit.
I think you.
I would love to, but I just, like you said, the racing thoughts. It's like I just can't. When I see 1,000 words on a page, it's like a song that just starts playing in my head, and I'm not really absorbing it. Even though I'm reading it, it's hard for me to absorb the information.
I think you'd really enjoy this one.
I think so too.
I'm gonna just say. All right, let me read the first page. Okay, this is the first. I'm gonna just read the first page. It's gonna take not long. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 1. In the beginning, there was trauma. My story begins before I even took my first breath. In the womb, nestled within the complex and fragile existence of a young black woman navigating a life far from ideal. My mother, a young black woman my mother was 18 years old and pregnant with me, a child herself in many ways, carrying the weight of generational pain and the hope for a better future. Life at home was complicated for her. An abusive father and a mentally ill mother made it impossible for her to stay, so she found solace in the arms of my father and under the roof of his family. But solace, as it turns out, was fleeting. It is my mother's story to tell, so I won't delve too deeply into her struggles, though they form the backdrop of my beginning. My story, however, starts in the womb and it begins with trauma. When my mom was far along in her pregnancy with me, she and my father had an argument one night. Arguments are common in relationships, but this one would change the trajectory of her life and mine forever. The next morning, my father shot himself in the head in front of my mother in his mother's house. His mother was in the kitchen baking a German chocolate cake. That's the first page of the book. And it gets deeper. So that's what I'm saying. This one you may not get too sidetracked. You may, I don't know. But
wow.
It's just so vulnerable, and I'm reading it back why did I even print this? Who published this? 'Cause, yeah. But anyways,
wow.
Thank you so much for stopping by. I didn't expect to tell my story too with yours.
Hey,
but
shit happens.
I had an amazing time with you. Go ahead and shout out your Instagram and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, my Instagram is mega, MEGA.morphic, MORPHIC. And for whatever reason, Instagram doesn't like me. So when you put the tag in, you might have to literally type the whole thing out. They like to blackball people. I don't know what I did. But yeah, that's the tag. Also, Sage just started working from home 100% as an entrepreneur.
What?
With her wax business. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So make sure y'all follow her as well. For all of your waxing needs, and that's
she be booked and busy.
Booked and busy, baby.
Wow.
So that includes the coochie, underarms, ass, back.
She does it at the house?
At the house. Eyebrows, lip, the whole thing. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all and say that is painless. It's kind of like when people say every time you go to the gym it gets better. In my opinion, it does not get better. But the level of pain, the way that she does it, it's way less than if you were to go to European wax.
Does she use the sugar? The sugar?
No, she does not use sugar. But her Instagram for that is gonna be wax womb, and that's womb womb, child, mother, WOMB, woman, and woman is with an X because we're inclusive over here. So that's wax, WAX, womb, WOMB, woman, WOMXN. So make sure y'all follow her.
Okay.
10% off your first booking, and she has loyalty cards. So the more that you come, the more discounts that you get. I'm trying to convince her to give me like a little TC 10% discount. So I can also,
like a code.
Yeah, so I can network as well. So
okay, I'm on here too. I am following her now.
Ooh, okay. Do you get waxed?
No, but I am an advocate.
You should do it.
I'm a supporter.
I think
I've done it before.
Okay.
For my birthday a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I shave really good. From what I've been told, like I shave real good.
What does real good mean?
Like you would think it was a wax. The wax hurt. I don't have no tattoos or nothing. Like I don't do pain.
Oh, okay, I see.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, like one thing.
But I would.
Yeah, but
I would get waxed.
It lasts longer.
Yeah.
For one, so you don't have to necessarily shave all the time. It does change your hair texture as well. So the more that you do it, like typically, you know, no shade to the curly community because I know my shit be curly as hell.
Yeah, me
but
too.
It does make your hair just a little bit straighter.
Okay.
Which in my opinion does help with the pulling. Because you know if it's more curly, it's kind of like probably going to be way more painful in that regard. And it does help with if you're someone who suffers from like ingrown hairs because, you know, sometimes shaving can cause that irritation. So there's a lot of benefits to it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's 100% for everybody because some people have weird reactions to it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a better alternative, especially if you're looking at like longevity and not have to always every 2 to 3 days touch up or whatever and things like that. And I ain't going to lie, that first shower, especially after you get your asshole waxed.
Oh yeah.
Ooh wee.
Yeah, I don't know if I haven't done that before.
Oh my God, the way that water runs through.
Is that the same thing as a Brazilian though? Like when you get that?
Yeah, if you get a Brazilian, but some people can request like they'll be like, oh, I don't like. She actually has one stud client who will be like, yeah, I want the Brazilian, but she'd be like, but don't touch my ass.
Okay, how you feel about her waxing these studs? Well, you pretty secure.
And you know what's so funny? She always has people that will ask that, like, how does TC feel about that? Or like, and it's just like, again, like, can we stop with the whole like assuming that just because the other person happens to be an XX chromosome that we're just supposed to eat their pussy? First of all, I'm at work. Like, let's be professional. Yeah. I'm not finna bust her wide open and she already bust wide open on the table.
Yeah.
That's for one.
Yeah.
But then for two, it's just like, bitch, I'm providing a service.
Right.
And if you ask her now, she'll probably tell you, honestly, I wax like 100 bitches a day.
So
I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even remember. Right. Now, I will say the only people she do remember is if they got a little scent to them or we got some weird shit going on. But other than that, she'll be like, I can't even tell you what that person's vagina even look like.
Wow. And I think that if I could handle the pain, which they say the pain get better after a while.
But like I said, it's like going to the gym. When people be lying, they be like, the more you go, the better it get. I don't feel like I've ever experienced that at the gym.
Hell no. I just came yesterday.
So I feel like that with waxing. But like I said, the way that she does it, it's not as painful.
Okay.
Because of how she does it.
Okay.
All right. I think you should definitely give it a try.
Would say maybe with her, I don't know if I could go back to them. It'll have to be a special occasion.
Don't say European.
No. Well, I've been to them before. That's who I went to.
So another issue with European that Sage has actually let me know is that European, the way that they do it is like every wax has to be like 15 minutes. So when people are like, oh, they got me done fast, which of course people love convenience, right? But that's usually what also attributes to the pain because they literally have to get people in and out. Like, it is so production driven.
Yeah.
Like, definitely quantity over quality when it comes to that experience. And I'm not saying that Sage is going to drag you out all day, but it's just like her Brazilians are probably going to take about 30, whereas European is going to take 15 because they literally are on a time constraint.
Yeah.
Everybody be like, oh, she snatched me. Yeah, she also snatched like 3 layers of skin off you because she's moving fast as hell.
Yeah, and I've been to Bombshell.
I have not heard any experience.
They do the sugar.
But I do know that apparently, weren't they the ones where they're like owner, like didn't pay nobody and like escaped the fucking city, and apparently he's like still on the run.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah, I heard that like a few months ago. Like he didn't pay any of his workers, and he just like randomly disappeared.
Huh.
So like all the people from Bombshell were like trying to find new jobs because they were like, yeah, like literally he ran off on the plug type shit.
This has been an amazing episode.
It has been an amazing episode.
Thank you again.
I can't wait to come back.
Yes, you always welcome back.
Really?
Hell yeah. This has been really fun.